guys, I'm back again with another video. I got a lot of interesting questions to answer today. I never thought about doing a channel introduction. I just hopped right into it because if I tried to make everything perfect, I was never gonna get anything done. So starting out with my name's Christina and I am the owner of Bay and Bunny. I go by Bay. Bunny is my Yorkie. She is 19 years old, so it's just me and her, so hence the name Bay and Bunny. Today I'm going to be finishing up a lot of my projects as I talk, because if you watched my last video, you know that I have a bunch of things that I need to finish up, and I have to finish them in a short amount of time because, of course, last night when I was trying to fall asleep, I was scrolling online and I signed up for 2 more shows. They're not until September and October, but I'm probably not going to have a lot of inventory left over for the fall season, so I need to make sure that all my spring season stuff are completely completed. I'm going to be answering some questions and I'm going to be working on my loaf cats. So, first question is, what made you get into crochet? So this is going to be the first cat I'm going to work on. I've already put his eyes in, but I need to sew him nose and whiskers on. So I do all my stuff in like a assembly line. So a lot of them don't have eyes. Like I have this jumbo one that I put his tail on already, but I haven't put his eyes in because he's much bigger than this cat, and I don't think I have the appropriate eyes for him because these look too small, but my other eyes look too big. So I probably need to mess around with the eyes a little. So I'm going to be putting eyes and nose on all the ones that I have the tail sewn on and the eyes in, which is 2, 3, 4. I think it's only 4. Yeah, we're only going to be working on 4 and then I'll start working on something else. So back to the question, what made me get into crochet? So I've honestly been crocheting for a very, very long time. I started crocheting when I was around 12 years old. I grew up in Jamaica and they had crochet as like an extracurricular activity. So when I was in grade 6 and I was around 11, 12, I was taught like the basics of crochet by my homeroom teacher. Her name was Miss South. She had been at that school, which was Mount St. Joseph Preparatory School. Not that anyone probably knows that school, but it's in Mandeville, Manchester, Jamaica. And I was taught the basics of crochet. After learning the basics of crochet, I can vividly remember the class. The class was held every Thursday afternoon, like after school. She was there for maybe 4 classes and then she retired because she had been teaching at that school for probably maybe almost 30 years. She was an older lady. She was very nice, and then I kind of didn't learn anything after that, but I was obsessed with learning. And this is before YouTube, so there was no, oh well, let me just go watch a YouTube video and see what's going on. If I wanted to learn how to crochet, I was gonna have to learn on my own, or someone else was gonna have to teach me. My mom couldn't crochet and my older sister didn't know how to crochet, so my mom bought me a crochet hook. And this is when people made like real tiny doilies and like stuff that you put on the arm of your couch and just tiny stuff like that. So my mom got me some tiny yarn and I started trying to make doilies. The first thing I made basically turned into a bowl because my tension was horrible, of course, because I was learning. And I just didn't give up. I would be crocheting under my desk at school. I was crazy about crochet. I was always very crafty. So I just really wanted to learn how to crochet, how to do something. Like I wanted to know how I was going to get it done. So I kept trying. Didn't learn how to read the book. Didn't learn anything. At that point, I was like, when I would be making whatever I was making in my mind. So this is the first cat. I finished his nose. When I was making whatever I decided to make at that point. I couldn't read crochet books, and I thought that I was just a super genius and I was making up these stitches. These were actual real stitches, but because I had no one to tell me like, oh, this is a treble or whatever, I was just a genius to myself and I was making up stitches. So eventually I had a grandmother who lived in New York, and we would go visit her every summer. She knew how to crochet. She wasn't a very patient lady. So her way of teaching me how to crochet was look at what I'm doing and copy it. So that's not the best way to teach someone, but I picked up as much as I could pick up from her. And I did learn some more stitches. I started working with larger size yarn. It wasn't burlap blanket at the time, but it was a little bit thicker than like this tiny yarn. So I was learning how to do that, and my mom bought me a whole bunch of that yarn. I came back to Jamaica and I started working on a blanket. Then I stopped working on the blanket and I went back to doing doilies and embroidery. I have some stuff to show you guys that I used to make. Let me just tuck the tail in for this cat. So he has a nose as well. So when I say doilies, I mean doilies like this. Like, it's kind of hard to see, but this was like the stitching along the edges. This is really old, so excuse the yellowing. And then embroidery work like this, like making little flowers on stuff. And I also made things like this where you would literally, this was like a staple in Jamaican households where people would put like little figurines or a vase in the middle of it, like on top of a table. So I started with this tiny yarn, and I would do it at night in the dark when I was supposed to be asleep. I was just obsessed with crochet. So after that, I started, what did I do? Then I went to high school. I didn't really crochet in high school. Maybe I worked on like a blanket every now and again because focused on high school, of course. And then eventually I moved here for college, moved to the US for college. So while I was going here for college, I went to school for fashion design and marketing. And after graduating, I went into the hospitality industry. So I worked my way up in hotels. I started managing hotels. I had fun. For the most part, I liked being around people. I liked helping. I was pretty good at it. That's honestly why I stayed. I was actually very, very good at it. And hi guys, I'm back again to finish up the video I started. So it is 12:27 and I've been working on some stuff, and I'm here to finish up the questions. I worked on piggy corns. They're not finished, and my goal today is to make 4 of them, and I want to make a dragon because I said I wasn't going to make any peeps because I made peeps maybe like 2 years ago, and it took me all year to sell them. I probably made like 8 or 10, and it took me so long to sell them. But that was a lie because last night I stayed up late and I did actually make more peeps. So I'm gonna work on that piggy corn and I will answer the next question. And the next question is, when did you decide to start your own business? So picking up from where I left off with being in the hospitality industry. So I was in the hospitality industry. I was managing hotels, really loved it. I thought I was fairly good at it. And then after I left the hospitality industry, I moved on to event planning and really liked event planning. I had a lot of fun doing event planning. It was like large scale event planning, not like weddings and things like that. It was more like doing citywide teacher conventions, like Comic-Con. MomoCon, although like this big con that's always held in Hawaii. I've personally never been to them, but I did help to organize them. I was working for the company that organized them. Horse shows, large events like that, like events that would take up the entire city of Atlanta, and other states. We didn't just do events in Atlanta. So after I did that, I actually went back to hotels and managed a hotel. It was a brand new hotel, and I loved working at brand new places. So I worked at that brand new hotel for around a year and a half or 2 years, and then I was getting burnt out with that because there was a lot of tiny issues that were going on, management wise, and I had more and more responsibilities, and that was fine for a while. But then there was just a breakdown that was going on within the company, not anything on my end, and I I didn't love what was happening. I didn't love where I saw the company going. So then I left and I started, there was a brand new restaurant that was being opened, and I was like, okay, let's see what's going on there, because I had my food handler's permit because the hotels that I worked in had restaurants in them. So I was like, well, let me go try this restaurant out. So started managing that restaurant, and it was really fun. I also had a good time. But then I was like, oh, I want to do something for myself. So then I decided that I was gonna make dream catchers. Even though loved crochet, I never went with my first mind. I should have just started crocheting. I never started crocheting. I was looking for something else to be the thing that I would start my own business with. So I started making dream catchers. I loved making dream catchers. My dream catchers, I thought they were amazing because I've never really seen anyone sell dream catchers at shows. So I made dream catchers. I went to a couple shows. The first show I went to, I was ready, but I knew I wasn't completely ready. But you're never going to be completely ready. My one tidbit that I would tell anyone who's starting a business is just do it. Just do it so you can see what's going to happen. Another thing that I would tell someone starting a business is hurry up and fail so you can try something else that's going to work. Because after I did dream catchers, my second show, I was online one night and couldn't fall asleep. And while I was online, I saw that someone was making bumblebees, and I was like, oh, crochet bumblebees. And I was like, oh, I can crochet. So I made a couple crochet bumblebees. And when I made those crochet bumblebees, I brought them to my Dreamcatcher show, and not one Dreamcatcher sold, but I sold all my crochet bumblebees, which was amazing. That should have been my sign to make crochet what I really wanted to go into, but I didn't take the hint. I did not take the hint. I was like, oh, what about rhinestones? So I started buying every color rhinestone, every color flat back pearl. I bought all these embellishments thinking that I was gonna be rhinestone queen. I was selling rhinestone kits so that you could make your own, you could bedazzle your own cup. I sold maybe 2 or 3 kits, sold some on Etsy, had an issue with Etsy and the fees. I didn't understand what I was doing, but I just wanted to jump into it. I'm an all or nothing type of person. If I'm going to try something, I'm going to inundate myself 100% and completely in it until it fails, which isn't a bad thing because remember, my tactic is hurry up and fail. If it's not for you, it's not for you. So I was like, okay, rhinestoning isn't going to work for me. Let me finally jump into crochet. And I did. And 5 years later, and we are still doing crochet because I finally accepted that I was supposed to be doing crochet from the beginning because I've always loved crochet. So that is how I started my business. The next question is, Do you do this full time? I do not do this full time. I actually have a job. I work from home. It's very flexible and I know exactly what I need to do so I can work around my schedule pretty well. So it gives me a lot of time to crochet. I can crochet every day and I usually can crochet during work. What are your long-term goals? My long-term goals are to grow my business large enough that I don't have to go to as many shows, because right now, when show season starts for me in a couple weeks, I will be probably going to a show every weekend if I have it my way for the next 3 months. It's very hard on me because I go to these shows by myself, and setting up, taking down, managing inventory, and working at the same time is a lot. Do I need to do it like that? No, but like I said, I'm an all or nothing type of person. When I was working in the hotel industry, many times I had 2 jobs where I would work in the morning and at night at 2 separate hotels. I never needed to do it, but I figured I can. So my thing is, well, if you can, then do it. Why wouldn't you do it? Why wouldn't I sign up for every show? If I can make the stuff, then I can just make the stuff and go. Why would I not do it when it is a possibility? So getting off track. So my long-term goal is to not go to as many shows, grow my online presence where I can probably do monthly drops of my plushies and have them sell like that, whereas I still want to go to some shows, but maybe cut it down to maybe once a month. Or I'm trying to do as many shows as I can so I can see which shows are more profitable. So then eventually when I slow down on going to shows, I'll know which shows I should definitely keep doing. So I'll be more profitable that way instead of going to shows that I'm like, iffy or maybe about it. That is my goal. That's my long-term goal. As far as working, I probably will still continue to work because my job is extremely flexible. And I can really manage both of them. Next question is, why did you start YouTube? I started YouTube because I make videos that I personally go back and watch, where I give myself tips and tidbits. I do a show review for myself because I do watch a lot of YouTube and I watch a lot of content creators and they do market reviews, and I do market reviews for myself, so I'll know what markets I should go back to and what markets I should stay away from. I probably will be posting some of those videos eventually when I do my long wrap up of all the markets I did last year. So I did them. I've been doing it for a while and I figured why not just start posting them, because maybe I can help someone and inspire someone to start their own business and see what can happen. As far as YouTube, as you guys know, where I said I'm an all or nothing person, I'm trying to hold back on jumping in completely like I always do. I told myself that I'm not going to purchase a camera, like a professional camera. I'm using my phone right now. I'm not going to purchase a camera or, mic equipment or ring lights or extra equipment that I probably won't need in my everyday life until I can consistently post videos, until I have at least 100 subscribers. Until I know that this is something that I will keep doing, I'm going to not jump into it and sink money into it, because I have sunken money in a lot of things prior to getting to where I am today. When I was doing rhinestones, I currently have every color rhinestone you can think of. I probably have 500 cups. I have tumblers, I have Mickey Mouse cups, I have just plastic tumbler cups. I just have them in my house and I really don't have anywhere to put extra items. So I'm trying to cut back on the amount of items that I purchase for things that I'm not going to stick with. As for yarn, there's not one, except for the restrooms, there's not one spot in my house that there's not yarn. There is yarn in my bedroom, there's yarn in my guest room, there's yarn in my living room, there's yarn in my dining room, there's probably yarn in my garage, there's yarn that is taking over my entire house. So I currently am using it, so it's not as bad, but I do have other things that I did buy thinking that I was gonna get into this, and I started to think that I was gonna get into clay, like clay jewelry and like clay little ashtrays and little trinket trays. And I even bought a clay oven. Never took the clay oven out of the box. I've never plugged it in. I've never made any clay items. I even bought the stencils and the little presses. Never used any of them, but I have all of them. So I'm trying not to get ahead of myself, and I'm trying to calm down and just take it one day at a time to see what will happen, because I should be more careful about the things that I'm buying and not just sink money into things that I'm probably not going to stick with. My tidbit for anyone who is ever going to be ready is you should really just do it. Honestly, jump into it right now. Like, go online today and book your first show. Book it right now. You're never going to be ready. Like, ever. You're never going to be ready. I'm never ready. I've been to shows and I'm still never ready. I've never not nervous to go to a show. Every show that I go to, I'm panicking the night before. I'm not sleeping. I always think I'm going to leave something behind. You're never going to be ready. Just do it. And as for my hurry up and fail so you can move on to the thing that you are meant to be doing. If you are unhappy at whatever you're doing right now and you think that you are meant for something else, try it. If it doesn't work out, that's fine. That means the next thing will work out. And if that doesn't work out, that's also fine. The next thing will work out. And if that doesn't work out, just keep going. Eventually, you're going to land on your feet. And then the thing that you think is going to work out may work out for months or a couple years, and then it may stop working out, and that's also fine. But at least you hurried up and you did it, so you can move on to what you're meant to be doing. As much information as I'm giving right now, I remember a saying that we have in Jamaica. It is dog and puss don't have the same luck, which means I could be telling you to jump into it, but you need to take that with a grain of salt. If I'm not saying quit your job and go start a crochet business, because that's not practical. And just because I have jumped into it and it worked out for me, that doesn't mean it's going to work out for you. Because like I said, dog and puss don't have the same luck. You may try it and it may not work out for you because that's not what you're meant to be doing. And that is also fine, but it just means that you are meant for something else. And it may work out for a while and then it may not work out. Just like the crochet business right now is working out for me. I don't know if it's going to be long term as I want it to be, because my hands hurt. As I said, I am a Bernat girly, and I do know that other yarns probably would save my hands a little better, but I just like working with Bernat yarn. So crocheting the amount of items that I crochet daily, every day, nonstop, is probably not practical, but I'm going to continue to do it until I can't do it anymore. And that's basically it. That is all the information that I have. I think I've answered all the questions. How long have you been crocheting? How long have I been crocheting? I've been crocheting for around 15 plus years, on and off. How long did it take me to learn? Took me a couple years to learn, on and off. I didn't really have a dedicated teacher. There was no YouTube, so I was just doing it on my own with some help from my grandmother and like I said, a teacher who taught me the basics that she taught me was just, how to hold the needle, how to do a chain stitch, and then I moved on from a chain stitch. I'm very good at what I would say duplicating projects, because I would just look at my mom's doilies and try to remake them. That's how I was making up stitches in my head, because I thought I was a genius. So because I learned like that, I can look at someone's pattern and I can just fairly think of how I could structure my items like that. That's why a lot of my projects, I don't release a pattern, because they may be strongly based on someone else's project. So that is basically it. I'm gonna show you some of the peeps I was working on last night, and then I will get to working on this video so I can post it today, so I don't just have it dragging around for a couple more days. I made this peep and this peep. My peeps are jumbo. And this one, I made 2 of these because I really like this color. They're all made from Bernat blanket. And also this one. So I made 2, 4, I made 6 of them last night. So here they are. And I think they are adorable. I haven't added eyes, of course, but I will get around to doing that tomorrow. Honestly, I know I'm not going to do it today, but I'll get around to doing it tomorrow. So that one, 2 of these. The orange one, a sparkly yellow. You probably can't see the sparkliness, but it's the Bernat blanket sparkly and this other neon Bernat blanket. I hope everyone is having an amazing crochet day and that everyone's projects turn out as cute as possible. If you have not looked through my page, go ahead and look through it, like a couple videos if you would like. I hope you guys have an amazing week, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.